Vice President Harris and her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, following tonight's rally in Pennsylvania with a campaign blitz across 4 more battleground states. As for their competition, former President Donald Trump has one rally this week on his schedule in solid red Montana. His pick for Vice President J.D. Vance replied earlier to questions about what the schedule looks like, saying this.
I know the president's very busy over the next few days. One of the things you've got to do is, of course, get out there and speak to people and speak to reporters. A final thing that you have to do, of course, is raise the resources, and I know the president's very busy doing exactly that.
Joining me tonight, the Republican governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum. Governor, it's great to have you back here. Why aren't we seeing Donald Trump out on the campaign trail more this week?
Well, I think you're going to continue to see a lot of President Trump on the campaign trail. I'll be with him in Montana on Friday, where he's got a big rally. And yes, Montana is red, but it's also a super important Senate seat. The Republicans are going to win this fall with Tim Sheehy. So I think he's not only going to win the election and is out campaigning to do that, he's going to make sure he wins the Senate as well.
Yeah, it is a big Senate seat. And speaking of, what this race is looking like overall is how it's changing in the presidential race. Right after Walz was named to the ticket today, Trump responded in a fundraising text to supporters saying that he will unleash hell on earth. Republicans have been painting Tim Walz as this extreme liberal. Bernie Sanders refuted that to me earlier when we were talking about this. Do you really think that voters will view Governor Walz this way, the 6-year-old governor from Minnesota, that he's going to unleash hell on earth?
Well, I think that it's just such an unusual world we're in right now, Caitlin. We were even 3 weeks ago when President Trump was going to win in a landslide and Joe Biden was never going to step down from running. And then here we are, and it's all honeymoon period about, the bio of Kamala. And many people in the country don't know her or her background, much less Governor Walz's background. And there's only 90 days to the election. So this is completely unprecedented, where a party has switched horses midstream, and they've done it not out of an advantage. They did it because they just decided, hey, we're throwing in the towel. We can't win. Because President Trump, was strong on the economy, he's strong on the border, he's strong on inflation and interest rates, all the things that are going to matter to voters when they go and vote this fall. And so it's like a complete reset today for the Democrats, who've had to throw everything out, start over, new playbook, and try to reinvent 2 new candidates who both have a track record of having very California liberal policies throughout their careers.
Well, you just said before Harris stepped down that this was probably going to be a landslide for Trump if he was running against Biden. Now that it is Harris and Walz, does that worry the Trump campaign?
Well, I don't think anybody's worried. I think everyone knows that there's this, it's got a weird, unusual honeymoon period where we're all like, wow, there's, 90 days till the thing, and all of a sudden there's a different team. But now we know who Trump is running against. He's running against Harris. We know who the VP candidates are. And you've got someone who ran our country successfully and had a super strong economy, and we had peace at the world and prosperity at home. And now Harris is going to have to try to defend the mess that Joe Biden has left us. And that's going to be very hard to do because, if you look at what's happening with the stock market, interest rates, it's not looking good in the next 90 days that there's going to be an economic miracle that's going to somehow, save the Harris campaign.
Well, I want to ask you, though, just on the prospect of this matchup here, because Trump keeps posting about Joe Biden. And today he's saying that Biden's going to come in and crash the Democratic convention maybe and try to take the nomination back and run again. Does he realize that he's running against Vice President Harris, not Joe Biden anymore, moving on, that he does have a different, maybe more formidable opponent in her?
Well, I think he knows exactly who he's running against, but we're also running against, Joe Biden was a creation of a ruling coalition, and that same ruling coalition of Democrats were the ones that said, hey, we're pulling the plug on Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't voluntarily do this. It was, between the donors and the powers that be, caused this to happen. And so in some ways, this is one of the most undemocratic ways that any candidate has ever been selected for president. And I think I think that President Trump understands how unusual this is.
I would counter that by saying when the Republican primary was happening, which you ran in, we were hearing the RNC chair basically telling everyone to pack it up and take it home and that, leave the race to Trump before any voters had even cast their ballots. That's what Ronna McDaniel was saying. But I'll move on because at least 5 times since Monday, and this is something I'm personally curious about, Donald Trump has been referring to Harris on social media as Kamala, I guess is how you pronounce it. It's 5 posts on Monday. Do you know where that came from and what that nickname means?
I can't comment on that, but I do know that when voters are making a decision, they're going to end up voting in many ways their pocketbook. And if you go to these swing states where they're going to decide the election, because we know that there's about 43 states that are either leaning heavily red or heavily blue, as they always do. But in those swing states, in those suburban counties, people are going to say, am I better off today than I was 4 years ago? And they're going to have to say no, because whether it's crime, whether it's inflation, whether it's interest rates, whatever it is, they're worried about that. And you've got the Harris-Walz campaign is not talking about any policies about how they're going to change it. If they're going to spend the next 90 days defending Joe Biden's track record on the economy, on the border, and on the wars overseas, it's a losing they've been dealt a losing hand. It doesn't matter how interesting their bios are. It's a losing hand for them on the issues that matter the most.
Okay, but you don't know where the nickname came from either, because it is a mystery to us. Governor Doug Burgum, thank you for coming on. Great to have you.